as many of you know out there, I'm retiring from the world of archaeology, which I'm very disillusioned with. And if you've seen the series Detectorists, you'll see the character Andy, played by Mackenzie Crook, really exposing in the third series, I know it's a spoof, of how corrupt archaeology is. You can get very disillusioned. But one of the things I've not given up on, and I was asked by a chap who follows me in the Liberal Party, actually called Graham, he said, have you given up on the building here? Now, I've been in West Wales for 5 years living now, and I've only just got around to putting some daub on these panels. So this is what we're going to do. So I'm going to show you the daub. There it is. Yeah, and hopefully, if I can move the technology down a little bit, there we go, we can work on this. Now the thing is, do I use these gloves or do I use these ones? Now the thing is, what I've got to do is talk about what's in this, okay? So let's just sort of do that now. So if I get a bit closer, so what is actually in this? Well, it's a nice boulder clay from up there in Ceredigion, near Newquay. So this gives it its sort of greyish colour, right? So it's like a boulder clay. So the one thing about daub, it needs to be moist. Now what else is in here? Now you can use chopped straw, you can use wool, you can use animal hair. I'm using just everyday straw at this minute. And I'm going to have another video where I'm going to be using other materials. Now, one of the things with this being boulder clay from the cliff, there's no real salt in it, but what there is lots of gravel. The one thing that you don't want when you're applying daub is lots of gravel. So again, I'm not answering a question, am I? God, this is like one of my archaeology lectures. So what is in this, again, is normal everyday straw. You've got to really mix it in with the clay. What else is in here? There's dung in here from the animal houses and their homes. Right, so what I'm doing is really mulching this in here, and also my finger's already through, so I should have not bothered with gloves at all. So this is putting daub. I know it's a modern way of doing this, but what we've got underneath this are panels. This is a membrane, and this itself is some metal coated gauze. Remember, metal coated gauze is going to be better because what's going to happen is the daub's got moisture in it, it'll react with an uncoated, and you might get rust quicker. So what I'm going to do, I need to sort of get in there. But it started to rain a little bit, so I need to really crack on, and the wind has picked up a little bit. So what I want to do is I just want to sort of apply some of this. Now, years ago, when I was a volunteer at Cosmeston in the 1980s, we were taught how to do this, and what you would do is chuck it on. Well, it's not wattle, right? So what you need to do, look at the surface, and you need to sort of put that in there, press it on, right? And what might happen is it might not stick, or it's going to be a bit of trouble to stick, right? Now, this is not an exposed area of the building, so what you can do, right? Do you use a trowel? Well, no, I'm not going to use a trowel, right? We're gonna keep going, and the main thing is this needs to be really worked in. Everything needs to be worked in. So what have we got? We've got clay, we've got manure. There's a bit of mud in there. We've got the straw in there, right? You can feel a little bit of gravel in there as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep moving this on there. Try and put this in as much as I can. I'm just going to check on the sheep. Hey, come on, sheep. They're very curious creatures. They really want to know what's going on. So again, why am I using this? Why don't I just put some paneling on the outside, right? Well, wooden paneling is going to rot in this weather. You're going to have to continually sort of treat it, right? And paint it and stuff. This lasts a long time, as long as you can sort of keep it what you need to do is put a sort of a lime coating over this, or I'm just going to put some sort of everyday sort of wood preservery type stuff, because there's a lot of organic stuff in this, and I'm going to do this in 2 parts. So stuff that I've not covered in this, and people might ask questions, and so what we're going to do, we're going to keep this going there. Now, what is the point of the straw? Now, the point is that binds it all together. You know, that binds it all together. It's like a sort of natural aggregate, in other words. Yeah, I have worked on building sites, but why aren't I using concrete? Oh, yeah, I can't. Why would you use cement and lime? These are all natural materials. So what have I spent out on this fuel to get the clay? So I work in Ceredigion. I live in Ceredigion. And everything seems to be in Ceredigion. Being here for 5 years has just been sort of, you learn where to find things. Why haven't I just used clay from the beach? Well, it's full of salt. So you've got to make sure you really spread this in, and hopefully I can try and get this into this one panel. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to use my hands. So it's all about, you know, when we started doing this, it wasn't sticking. Well, as you start to work it, and you start, in other words, this gauze that we're using here is a bit like wattle. So fill the gaps, fill the spaces, get in there. If anything goes on the floor, try and get it up and use it, because there's a lot of work going into producing this and making this. When I say a lot of work, what you've got to do to mix this, I've spent a good about half an hour mixing it together. So we've got a lot of panels to fill here. So, you know, I'm doing this alone. So when I say we, I'm talking about the animals. The other thing as well is that I'm thinking about getting a cat. I know that's nothing to do with what I'm doing now, but cats are really good for dealing with sort of things like rats. So, you know, weirdly enough, thinking about getting a cat. Thinking about getting a cat. I saw for the first time, after being here for 5 years, right? I saw for the first time a black cat wandering around. So I think the black cat's either because I'm focusing on the acting now. Here's a bit of wives' tale. If an actor sees a black cat, right, going from left to right in their path. So I saw this cat last night, and we're not talking about early last night. We're talking about 2 o'clock in the morning, right? So I went out to make sure everybody was okay, and what I did see is this black cat, and it was going from left to right in front of me, and it was really interesting seeing that animal. And I think it was saying either you're going to get some good film work this year, or you're going to get some good film work and you should get a cat. Well, thing is, anyone that actually knows me, right, will know that I'm not awfully keen on cats. I wouldn't be cruel to them, and I've been known to really help them out. And you know, if a cat's in trouble and suffering, like any other animal, you got to help it out. But I'm thinking now that it's time to maybe approach my cat stage. You know, I've got lots of animals here, but you can see the sheep's coming in there now. They're the sheep. They're Shetland sheep. Sort of an old breed. They're very hardy breed as well. They're very small. Lots of bit of history on this. Lots of earlier animals would be hardy, stocky and hardy. Well, they're little animals. So how am I doing now? So what we're going to do, we're going to keep talking a little bit, right? Keep talking and see if we can get this whole panel done. Now, I'll be pleased to answer any questions on this door bin, right? And what I'm planning to do is my next Daub mix, folks. I'm planning to use goat hair. I'm planning to use goat hair, so what we're going to do, get that hand in there. Feels, actually, I'm finding it's probably easier just to use the glove. Now, am I going to have enough for this bit of a panel here? Well, I found this big stone. That's going to be no good. It's just going to fall off and it's going to crack. Right. So what we need to do, we need to keep going. We need to keep going, getting all the nooks and crannies, because you've only got one chance at this. Once it's done, right? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to let it dry a little bit, or the word is set, or go off. And what I'm then going to do is give it a nice sort of nice bit of a paint over it, right? So that's what I'm going to do. And it's working in there. It's sort of loving it and working in there. I'm going to show you a panel that was done earlier on as well, when I've done this bit. So we're going to go up there, up a daisy. So there we go. And there we go. So working on a project like this completely alone is it's a lot of work. It is a hell of a lot of work. You know, trying to do all these little things. But I think living in the countryside doesn't come naturally to everybody. But seeing as I come from a farming family, I'm hoping that I've got enough daub anyway. I'm going to put that in there. Okay. I'm going to put that in there. And put that in there. It's going well, mate. We'll have a look at this in a moment, right? And we're nearly there, folks. Here we go. I'm very aware that it might start raining soon, and I've got a cup of soup waiting as well. I think I've got enough. I'm hoping I've got enough. If not, I'm going to spread a little bit. Spread a bit of the love. Get that in there. Okay, get that in there. Spread this around. You know, this is what they would have done. Obviously, not in the past on the membrane, but it's a material that's been used for, you know, tens of thousands of years. We're starting to see the people were building houses and homes. For example, the Yamon culture, and we're starting to see really early evidence of people building homes 10, 12, 13, 14,000 years ago. So, you know, and even earlier than that. So the we're starting to see that, you know, the archaeologists have got the dates wrong for a very, very long time. I know some of the viewers that used to watch the likes of Ross Broadstock will agree that our history is not what it seems. I'm really hoping that I've got enough daub. I'm panicking a little bit now because I'm not sure I do. But what I'm going to do is I've got to move this up. We're going to move this up, and we're going to move this up there. And there we go. We're going to move this up there. It's being filled in. Only a little bit more to go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get as much of this out as I can. So we're going to go brown. Nearly there. Nearly there. Nearly there. Nearly there. Nearly there. Here we go. We're nearly there. Are we nearly ready to see it? What I'm going to have to do when we do see it, I have to clean the sand. So I'm going to, there's stones here. There's lots of stones. I'm going to see if I can get a bit more of this out, because I need a tiny little bit. I'm getting some off the floor. Because when you're doing daub, it seems, lots of it, well, when I say lots of it, bits of it seem to go on the floor. So, guys, what we're going to do, guys and girls, I'm going to skim it now. I'm going to make sure everything's sort of filled in, right? Everything's filled in. Everything's done. Everything's ready. Everything's ready. We've got that there. Actually, hang on, I think we've got too much. So we've got that there. Gotta make sure all the seams are done, because that's where water's going to come in. So here we go. It's kind of, so what we're going to do, we're going to lap it there. We're going to sort of make sure. Maybe I should get in contact with Jeremy Clarkson on our build. One of these little buildings for him. I'll do it for you, Jeremy, free. And I'll bring my sheeps along, Jeremy. You can't eat them. So here we go. And there we go. There we go. Up. I'm gonna, hopefully, you can overdo it sometimes. You can overdo it. So what we're gonna do now, guys, we're gonna see how good this looks. Okay. I'm gonna wipe my hands in the grass, so let's give it a go. And what we're going to do is, if I can take that off the little doodah, and what we've got that there. We've got a full triangle. So you know, we've got, so you can see that there. Okay, and we've got that there, all the way in the corner, all the way down there, all the way up there, and we've got, it's looking really good. So what we've got, finally, what I want to do, as promised you, is this is what it looks like when it sets. Now, there's a different matrix in there. There's bits of chopped straw. And I've managed to paint over this, but this has actually gone quite hardy, and it actually looks really good. So when we see this next, we can hopefully sort of see it dry, and everything's all good. Anyway, this is Karl-James Langford. Thank you for joining me on a journey today on daubing, and more to come. We're going to use, next time, we're going to use wool, and we're going to use goat hair. So I'm going to get cutting a little bit now. I shouldn't, but I got lots of wool hanging around from the summer anyway, so I won't be getting any wool. So the goats need a little bit of a trim, not too much, because it's going to get cold. So anyway, yes, love to you all. Keep being good, and thanks for the support. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you. And always watch these videos to the end, because it's much better for me. Yeah, and press the join button down below as well, the blue one, £1.99 a month. Could always do a little bit more money. Feed the animals and me. So I won't have to have a cup of soups. Thank you very much. Bye. Follow me on TikTok, James the Pirate. Thank you. Like, subscribe. Part 1, part 2 coming.